There it goes.
There you go. It says live.
Okay. All right. Folks, I apologize. Well. This is real terrible. But Michael, this is what you get for leaving me in charge. We're going to our intro in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we are here live on episode 28 of Dad's Watching Sports. This is a very unfamiliar voice. This is Matt, and as always, we have Kyle Castles with us. We got our boss, Mr. Draper, a.k.a. The Suit, is on vacation in Maui for his anniversary. And Kyle, I just talked to Michael about 10 minutes ago, and you will not believe where he's actually at right now with his wife.
Maui. I mean, that's all I know. What do you know?
No, he's at Hooters in Maui.
He's at Hooters in Maui.
Hooters in Maui. I talked to him 10 minutes ago. He said that they were going to go there and get some wings and a quesadilla.
I mean, you know what? Whatever. As long as Mrs. Draper's cool with that for the anniversary, then have fun.
That's the way I look at it. I'll tell you this. I am going to put up a poll on Instagram, and we will see how many votes we get by the end of the show. But I think Michael and Suzanne are going to come back from Maui, and Suzanne's going to be knocked up, and that they're going to have Draper. They're have Draper baby number 3 on the way.
You know what? I mean, if trying to say this as family friendly as possible. If things go the way he wants them to go on this anniversary trip, then dadgum right, he's coming back with baby number 3.
Yeah, they're. If that's the case, then they won't be. Well, if that's the case, then they will be screwing around down there. So.
Whoa!
I apologize. I apologize to everyone with their kids that is listening. Okay, so anyway, we are live on the RTF Sports Network page and the Dad's Watching Sports Facebook page right now. And you can download our podcast anytime, or you can listen live on the RTF Sports Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central. And you can interact with us, and we want to hear from you throughout the show. You can hit us up on Facebook. You can hit us up on Instagram. That's the one I run, Instagram. So you can always send DMs there, and I'll make sure that they get on the show for you guys. And we also have Twitter. All Dad's Watching Sports. Twitter is Dad's Watch Sports. And we are coming up on our third weekly, our third show of our new show called The Dad Debate that comes on Wednesdays. And this is a half-hour show, and sometimes it's live, sometimes it's recorded. But I believe that we are going to be live again on Dad's Watching Sports this Wednesday. And we are going to debate. I did not get an update from Michael. He was too busy drinking a beer at the bar at Hooters to give me an update. But it's going to be me versus somebody, and I'm glad it's not going to be you, Kyle, because I would eat your lunch.
Well, you know, you're glad it's not me because I've been on the last 2 episodes, and I have defeated both Mike and Wayne last week because I'm that good. So just thank your lucky stars that I'm not going to be on there tearing you a new belly button.
Well, I appreciate that, Kyle. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it here. I was on vacation last week. supposedly I was in Bora Bora or something like that. That was a
Turks and Caicos. It was Turks and Caicos, and then you called in and reminded us it was Bora Bora, not Turks and Caicos.
I called in to remind you that I was in Colorado because that's where I was. I went fly fishing, got to go on some hikes with the family, and I got a new grill while I was down there for the vacation house. I cooked brisket, I cooked some pork, I cooked a beer can chicken. And for all you dads out there, if you're cooking beer can chicken, be sure you open the can. If not, it gets crazy.
You did not put the can in unopened.
I'm kidding. I didn't do that. I'm not.
No, I was.
But
that would be funny.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So the highlights of the vacation were for sure. I took my wife Emma and we took out a Razor, aka a side by side, and no, I don't mean the refrigerator. Or an off-highway vehicle. We went around the loop in the town called the Alpine Loop. So it was called. We went over an Engineer Pass. We went over another pass called Cinnamon Pass, and then we went to an area called American Basin, which is extremely pretty. It was a lot of fun. I got to spend a lot of alone time with my wife. Since the in-laws were there, they were able to watch the baby. One day we went and we fly fished on the Rio Grande, the headwaters of the Rio Grande, actually, which is a really cool thing. And I caught 2 brown trout. My wife caught two rainbow trout. So that's the highlight. The not fun part of the vacation was the driving. Kyle, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you go on long car rides with your family, how do you handle the kids? What do you do to keep them entertained?
Man, so we got in the last year a minivan, and this it's a Honda Odyssey. It's got all the stuff you need for a long car ride. We got a DVD player in the front. We got Matt, you remember this? You remember growing up in high school? You're in your truck or whatever. You got your CD player there. And in the console or in the glove box somewhere, you got that book that with the zipper, you open it up and it's got all the CDs in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've got one of those, but it's full of DVDs and Blu-rays that will play that player. So the boys have something to watch. That is exactly what we need because our boys would not handle a ride for very long without something like that. When we went down to Florida earlier this summer, we had movies playing constantly. Anytime we were in that van, they were going. We even had to stop. We stopped on a couple hours outside of our condo because they had watched enough movies. They were tired of everything that was in the case, and we stopped and made a quick Target run to solve that problem. So, man, we just play the movies. We keep some snacks, and they tend to do pretty well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's kind of we took the approach. My wife talked to a couple of her friends, and she talked to them. And what they do with their kids is they actually wrap presents and they take toys the kids haven't played with very much lately, or something along those lines, and then they open a gift every time they get kind of fussy in the car. And my daughter, she's 1 and almost 1.5, and she's not very into TV very much. But boy, I tell you, I know that every single word to all the songs on Moana and the hot dog song from Mickey Mouse. I actually have had it stuck in my head all day because that's pretty much all we did to keep her from screaming.
Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Am I right?
Yeah, we got ears. It's time for a cheers.
Yeah, we do.
So on the way home, Kyle, we had a 14-hour car trip that turned into about 16 hours in the car.
Oh.
And for probably 8 of those hours, she was screaming her head off the entire time. Yeah, it was rough. So we actually stopped at one point and we got out of the car for about 20 minutes and just walked around with her outside. So that's pretty much all we did.
That's terrible. I don't with one that young, it's hard because I'm guessing she's still rear facing.
Yes.
Yeah. Hannah, about 8-month-old now, she was 6 months old or so, 5-6 months old when we went down to Florida, and luckily she slept pretty much the whole time we were driving. I couldn't imagine, listening to that screaming for that long.
Yeah, it is not fun. But I will say though, I did enjoy, getting to be out with the wife and just enjoying our time as a family. We got we actually got to go out to eat in the town we went to, Kyle. There were 3 cases of COVID-19, and that place is remote. Like, it's not remotely close to anything.
Yeah.
So we were just able to go out to eat, and we didn't really have to worry about much. We went to the soda shop. We got ice cream. We got, it's called strawberry limeade from this little soda shop that'll make you want to slap your mama.
Nice.
And, I mean, I'm telling you, it is good.
So you had all this alone time with Emma, and you're talking about Mike coming back with number 3 from his trip. I mean, is number 2 on the way for the Kirks?
Now I'll say this, Kyle. We were, and I know that my father-in-law is probably watching this right now, but we were next door to them. So if you understand what I'm saying there, then you can put 2 and 2 together.
Gotcha.
Yes, so that was not on the agenda.
Gotcha.
But I will say that, it was great spending time with family. We ate good. I actually got a new grill while we were there. I got a Weber kettle. And for those of you who use those, or those of you who are interested in getting one, I highly recommend it for a grill. Kyle, you can pretty much do anything. I smoked a brisket. I cooked pork tenderloins. I cooked chicken. I cooked steak. Pretty much everything you could imagine you can do on this grill. You can do easily what our guest grower had one time. He suggested to do the reverse sear on a steak, and you can easily do that because you can just move the coals to half the side of the grill. You have a hot side and a cool side for slow cooking, and it just is really fantastic.
Very nice. So I know you're a big meat grill smoker guy. I mean, we're 2 weeks or so from Labor Day. What you got on the menu for Labor Day?
Well, so right now I'm planning on hopefully doing a pork butt, a pork shoulder to make pulled pork. We always do something with our people in our little cul-de-sac over here. And we have Mr. Jason, who could be actually listening to the show right now. He typically tunes in, but he likes to cook too. So we kind of duke it out occasionally for who's going to cook what. So
yeah.
But how about you, Kyle? Are you cooking anything?
Man, I usually don't get to cook. 4th of July, Labor Day, all that. We end up going to my in-laws. My father-in-law will have the grill going when we pull up, and and then he usually does like burgers and chicken and hot dogs. I mean, it's really simple stuff. Now my wife's stepdad, he smokes everything. He's won a few barbecue cook-offs. So when we go over there, I know better than even get close because he's got all that taken care of. So I mean, I sometimes go down and I help with the chicken or the burgers or dogs, whatever it is that my father-in-law needs, but my stepfather-in-law, man, I don't touch it.
Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. With my father-in-law, for me, he cooks the best steak you'll ever eat. Like, we had steak up there one night. He cooked them one night we were there, and man, I'm telling you, you tell the guy you want I asked for a medium rare steak, and that was the most perfect cooked steak I've ever had. I mean, there were people there that had them done every way you could think of. Rare. I had mine to a medium rare. My wife likes hers medium. They have one cousin that prefers theirs to be well done. And he can cook it all, and it's just always perfect and fantastic, and everybody is really happy with the way he cooks it. So, yeah. So for me, when it comes to cooking beef, I'm not a big fan of doing it unless it's a brisket, because then his style of grill will not cook a brisket. Where I'm more in that area there.
Yeah.
So Kyle, I know this is off script here, but I heard a little bit ago the SEC is going to release their schedule tomorrow. For week 1 at 3:00 on the Paul Feinbaum show. Who Paul is probably watching our show too, if I had to guess.
Probably.
And then we also have the rest of the schedule being released at 7 p.m. tomorrow night on SEC Now. What game are you looking forward to for Mississippi State this season, Kyle?
I mean, we have all the games. State fans, we're looking forward to all the games, but there's only one game that matters, right? And I say this to everybody that asks. We could go. I guess we're playing 10 games this year. We could go 1-9, and as long as that one is a win over Ole Miss, I'm happy, and pretty much the whole fan base is happy. We hate those guys, and as long as we beat them, it's a good year.
Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah, that Egg Bowl can kind of break and make. I know this last year they had the piss, miss, and then dismiss.
Yeah, well, it was crazy. So I went into that ball game knowing that if we lost that game, that Moorhead was going to be out, and then by sheer stupidity, quite frankly, from what's his name, I forget the player's name there at Ole Miss. But because of his stupidity, Moorhead got to go in and coach this bowl game. And, I mean, the team looked absolutely awful. Me and Mike actually went to that game. But, I mean, just didn't look prepared at all. And then he was dismissed then. And it all turned out okay. I am really excited. I'm ready to see the start of oh, my God. I just went blank on his name. You got me off script. I don't have my notes, and I went blank. He graduated from Pepperdine, and what's Mike Leach? Ready for Mike Leach here in Mississippi State to start?
Yeah, I tell you, I'm very happy about Arkansas's coach. By the way, do not get me wrong, but I really wanted Leach at Arkansas. I think his system is going to work great in the SEC. I'm actually predicting Mississippi State to win 8 games this year.
Man, if we could go 8-2, playing an all SEC schedule, that would be insane.
Yeah, I think they'll for sure lose. They'll for sure lose to Alabama and more than likely to LSU. But I actually have them beating LSU, and I have them beating Auburn.
Oh wow!
Have them getting beat by have them beating LSU and Auburn. I'm sorry,
beating LSU and Auburn. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, we got Georgia on the schedule. I don't think that's a win. Auburn or Alabama on the schedule. I think that's a win. LSU is going to be different. It's going to be weird. I mean, actually, a kid out of Mississippi, Miles Brennan, who last I saw, he was going to be the starting quarterback at LSU. If he can do, half of what Joe Burrow did last year, I mean, the LSU team's going to be really good. I think Kellen Mond, in his third year under Jimbo Fisher, he should take a step forward. And that's going to make A&M really, really good. And then, in the SEC West, that leaves my dogs, your hogs, and those terrible Rebels kind of fighting it out, in my opinion, for the last 3 spots.
Yeah, that's possible. I think Arkansas is probably going to go winless, but I think they're going to fight because I think that Sam Pittman, everything I've heard about him is he can make you want to run through a brick wall. So I'm really, really hoping that's how this will work out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyle, we're up against the break here. We've got about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So we are just going to go ahead and go to commercial break, and then we will be right back.
All right.
Hold on. I got to figure out what button to hit here. Okay. Hey, Michael, this is why you should not ever leave the show because I don't know what I'm doing.
Are you a dad? Good. Do you like to watch sports? Even better. Sounds like you need to check out our podcast, Dads Watching Sports. Each week we talk about national sports topics. Yay, sports are back. And our lives as dads of kids 5 years and under, and the highs and lows that come with fatherhood. You can check us out on the RTF Sports Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And, of course, you can download the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search Dads Watching Sports. And while you're there, share with a bro dad. That's Dads Watching Sports.
All right, and we are back here on Dad's Watching Sports. Again, this is episode 28. Michael is gone, and this show has completely gone off the rails, as Michael would like to say. We actually have 2 comments, Kyle, here from our listeners. Let's see what they have to say. We got Jesse Bizanet said that medium rare steak is so perfect, and he said, "What's up, dads?" Jesse, I do not want to disagree with you here. That medium rare steak is perfect. Kyle, how do you like your steak cooked?
I like it somewhere between medium rare and medium. I like it a little bit past medium rare, but once it hits, it can't get past medium. It can't really touch medium, or it's too done. So somewhere in there, I tend to order what I tend to do is order medium, and usually they tend to bring it out a little bit less than. If I go medium rare, it tends to get a little too rare.
Yeah, they've got to have that little bit of a rest time there, and I don't think they really do that back in the kitchen. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't put a steak in front of me and expect a rest time. I'm going to cut into that sucker and start eating.
Exactly. I pull it off the way I want it, and I cook my steaks to 128, and to 125 is supposed to be where a medium rare is, but I take mine to 128. When I pull that puppy off, I'm going to town on it.
Sounds right.
Yeah, but Kyle, we are in the playoffs now for the NBA. The seeding games are out. The playoffs are started. Who's your favorite team right now to win it all for the NBA?
Look, for me, it's still the Lakers. You still have probably the two best players in the league this year, in AD and LeBron James. And talent in the NBA tends to win out. So give me the Lakers.
Yeah, well, Kyle, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but the Portland Trailblazers are about to come and knock on that door of King James, and they're going to take that crown right off his head because they're going to come. They're going to come for the whole damn thing. They're going to win it all.
You know what? I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I actually have that point later, further down, when we talk about the most intriguing matchup. But here's the thing. I think the winner of the West comes out of that 1-8 series. I think the Lakers and the Blazers are probably the two best teams in the West at this moment. And so I agree with you. The winner of that series is going to come out of it, but I think the Lakers pull it out.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they could eventually, but I think that the Damian Lillard, he's going off right now in the bubble. He is crazy. He averaged 56 points over a 2-game stretch, which is insane. 61 and 55, I believe is what it was. I could be wrong there. Someone wants to comment in and tell us the points. But he went Kyle from not even wanting to be in the bubble to a career stretch in scoring here.
Yeah. I mean, he has been lights out. It's been fun to watch. I think if you take Damian Lillard and you put him in a big market, get him out of Portland, put him in LA, put him in New York, put him in Miami. He's right there. And maybe he is for some people. I haven't seen this, but he'd be in everybody's top 5 players in the league at this moment if he's not playing for the Portland Trailblazers.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's for sure. He's the what they call a diamond in the rough there in Portland.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle. So you kind of leaked what you were going to say here, but I'm going to ask you for your most intriguing matchup of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be that 1-8 in the West, right? Like the Blazers. I mean, they are absolutely the hottest team in the NBA now that the Suns are out. I don't think they're gonna. The Lakers are gonna have a hard time with them. I'm still gonna take the Lakers in 6, but it's gonna be a very entertaining 6 games. If it goes 7, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Absolutely. What I'm thinking for the most intriguing matchup in the playoffs, Kyle, is I've got it coming out of the East, and I am going to go with the Heat and the Pacers. I know that the Heat is my team, and again, I have this coming up, but the Heat and the Pacers have been going back and forth for that 4 and the 5 seed in the East. And I'm telling you, I don't have a good feeling. I got a feeling that I am going to be the one stuck having their fingernails painted on the show, Kyle.
Well, I think you're not looking too great in any of our wagers here, but I think that 5-6 there in the East, that's going to be a fun one. I do think your Heat are going to pull that one out. I think they have enough talent too, but. Yeah, I mean that Pacers Heat matchup, it's going to be tough.
Absolutely. So, how is your team looking so far, Kyle? You have what I believe is the Clippers, right?
I have the Clippers, and they're up against this terrible, awful, no good, sorry team in the Dallas Mavericks.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far now. I believe that the Mavericks actually could also upset the Clippers, but I think that one team is for sure going to come out of Los Angeles into the Western Conference Finals, which is going to be the Clippers.
I feel really good. I think the Mavs are a good enough team to the Clippers are going to have to show up, obviously, But no, I think the Clippers have the easiest march to a conference final of any team. And so they'll win this series, they'll win the next series, and they'll be in the conference final against probably the Lakers or the Trailblazers. There's the only two coming out from the other side of the West. So, yeah, I feel really good about the Clippers. I don't think your Heat can get to the finals. I don't even remember Mike's team, but I feel pretty good. I don't see the Clippers not getting to at least the conference championship.
Yeah, I don't see the Clippers getting beat by anybody. I sure hope the Mavericks can pull out an upset for our sake of the bet, and I hope that that my Miami Heat can beat the Indiana Pacers. But again, I think I'm going to be wrong on both of those, Kyle. Kawhi Leonard is going to shut down Porzingis, or it's going to shut down Doncic, and they're going to have them outmatched at every position on the court. Let's just be real here.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, we got the NHL playoffs also going on right now. Outside of our bet, which our Avalanche and Coyotes are playing, and I tell you, Kyle, the Coyotes are coming, and they're going to knock on the door. I don't know if you remember the show called Varsity Blues, but the Coyotes are coming.
Okay, I will wait to talk about that Avs Coyotes game or series, but don't hold your breath here. It's gonna be a quick little 5-game series. But you talk about the most intriguing matchup outside of that one for me. I mean, it's got to be the Bruins and the Hurricanes. They were the Eastern Conference Final last year. The Bruins were the best team in hockey going into can I call it the COVID break or we'll call it the COVID break. Best team in hockey before that. The Hurricanes have been kind of the hottest team since we've been in the bubble. So yeah, I think that's the fun one. You're probably talking about two teams that are easily in the top 5 best teams in the league.
Absolutely. And I tell you, Kyle, for me, I'm liking the Islanders. The Islanders are actually up 3-0 now, and they are a 7 seed. So that's one thing about hockey is it kind of seems like you see these teams that are ranked, at the higher seed or in a lower seed that tend to make it. Like the year the Preds went, our Preds went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Mm-hmm.
They went in that year, I believe, as an 8 seed, right?
It was an 8 seed, yeah. The thing with hockey, and it's even more so than even with baseball, but in baseball, if you get that hot pitcher, you can almost guarantee a win every time he starts. But the problem is he only starts one out of every, in the playoffs, like one out of every three or four games. In hockey, if you get a hot goaltender, that goaltender can take care of a lot of problems that the rest of your team have. If you can't score, you can't win, right? So if you walk in, you got a hot goaltender, you got a hot hand that could just light the lamp. Anything can happen in hockey. There's a lot of ricochets and lucky bounces and things like that can turn a game in a series in hockey that you don't get as much in the other sports.
Yeah, the game on the ice versus the game on the hardwood of the grass, man. I'd tell you that puck can do some weird things, and sometimes it goes in your favor, and sometimes it does not. So hockey for sure has a very fun playoffs. That's for sure. In my opinion, it's the best playoffs in sports. But again, another story for another day here.
Well, you should have been on the dad debate on Wednesday because I was actually making that very same point. I think the NHL and the Major League Baseball, I think those two have the best playoffs. To me, there is a distinct difference in gameplay when you hit the playoffs in both of those sports. You see it in the NBA as well. But for me, I would rather watch a hockey game or a baseball game than a basketball game. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy basketball, but I like hockey and baseball better. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The NHL, you're playing for the most prestigious trophy in pro sports, and it's fun to watch.
Absolutely. All right, Kyle. So we're going here. I was on vacation whenever I picked my Coyotes, and then I see they're playing against your Avalanche, and I tell you, I think that Michael's Lightning are among the favorites to win. I think they are going to make it to at least to the finals in the Eastern Conference here for the NHL, and I think this is going to come down between you and I. They actually have a pivotal Game 4 tomorrow. I would say the Coyotes are going to be at home, but they're in a bubble, so they're all technically the home team here. But I tell you, I think the Coyotes are going to come for them. I think it's going to get real interesting real quick. What are your predictions, or what is your reaction to your pick of the Avalanche, Kyle?
Man, I love a good young core. I think Nathan McKinnon's one of the easy top 10, maybe top 5 players in the league. I don't like I said, Coyotes. They got their win. Good job. I think the Avs come back, they win the next 2, and it's over. I think the Lightning come out of the first round real easy, and that means you get to – what was the NHL one? That's not painting your fingers.
I got to record a commercial talking about how awful.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how great. I guess me or Mike or whoever's team goes further, probably Mike, but I can see the Avs coming out of the West and being in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're that good.
Yes, it very well could happen. You are correct. All right, Kyle. So we're also on here to the MLB. The Washington Nationals coming off a World Series title. They're sitting at 7-11 and last in their division right now. Makes me sick to my freaking stomach, Kyle. And I tell you that the Dodgers, I think they're going to taper off. And the Padres, they are at 11-11. You got to be feeling pretty good about your Padres right now, too, Kyle.
Oh, there was all sorts of crap being talked about how I wasn't going to win this baseball, and here you are, 7-11. Might as well go make you a dadgum Slurpee there, Matthew.
I know, I need to. You're right, Kyle. All right, Kyle. And I tell you,
no, I'm not done. This is fantastic because you're not just losing baseball. You're losing basketball. You're losing hockey. You just do everything. Give me the $100. Paint your fingernails. Do the commercial. Do it all.
Well, Kyle, unless you are a recipient of some money from a foundation I'll be giving that $100 to, then that money's not going to you. You know that, right?
Whatever.
Okay.
Autism Speaks will be happy to take your money.
Okay, then I will be very happy to give that money to Autism Speaks. And I think I'm going to end up actually getting all 3 punishments, Kyle. I think that should mean that I also have to wear a dunce hat to every episode for at least a month.
I mean, dunce hat, we can come up with all sorts of fun stuff. Maybe like some sort of mask or something you got to wear.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Kyle. Well, we are up against it, my friend. We're going to go to another commercial if I can figure out how to work this thing.
Mike, come back.
Yeah, Michael. Again, please don't ever leave again because this is what happens when you do. All right, Kyle, we are back. So while I was gone, you guys talked about your favorite athletes of all time, and I felt pretty left out by this. So I am going to give you guys mine in the order that I posted them. Now, I will say that this is not necessarily in order of my favorite athletes of all time. It's not in any type of order here. It's just, basically I wanted to talk crap to people. I've got a friend of mine that's a big LSU fan, and I happened to pick Darren McFadden as one of my favorite athletes, and I made sure I tagged him in my post that day on Facebook because he ran wild on LSU that day. In fact, went for more total yards himself than LSU did as a team. He had 200 yards passing and 300 plus yards rushing. So went for 500 yards of total offense, while LSU had 350 or so. They still went to overtime though. But so I'm going to go through my list here. I just released one. Darren McFadden, the Arkansas running back, who should have won 2 Heisman trophies but got screwed. I got Shaquille O'Neal. I've got Joe Adams, the Arkansas wide receiver. Kyle, I know that you're not a Tennessee fan, but I'm sure you know a couple of them. Joe Adams may have had what is probably the most electric punt return in college football history. Was touched by all 11 players from Tennessee, and they couldn't have one guy bring him down. And then I've got Hunter Henry, who is by far responsible for the biggest play and most exciting play and this complete switch of emotions whenever he tossed that ball back to Alex Collins on the sidelines versus the Ole Miss Rebels. Excuse me, they're Ole Miss. Sorry. And then I've got Reggie Bush from USC. Hands down, was one of the most electric players in sports history. Then I got Steph Curry, the Golden State Warriors point guard. I've got Matt Jones, the old quarterback from Arkansas. I was actually asked this the other day, if I could have any quarterback or any player come back from previous years to this season, who would I want to come back? And I would pick this guy, Mr. Matt Jones.
Matt Jones over Clint Sterner? I mean, come on.
Did you ever watch Matt Jones play, Kyle?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so he was electric. He could run, he could throw, and so there was actually one story here. I've got a friend of mine here in Texas where his brother actually knows who Matt Jones is, has heard stories about him, has a friend that played with him in college, and he said that they were playing against, I believe it was Mississippi State one game, and they were kind of slacking, they were down, and Matt Jones told him, he said, "Hey man, I'll take care of it." He winked at him, and he went back out and in the second half, and they just blew Mississippi State out in the second half. So that guy can just turn it on in the drop of a hat, and he can be a game changer. Which you would hope he would want to do that from the start, but that's not how he played. But anyway. But then I'm going to go with Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. But I loved watching him play. He had that same mentality that Jordan did, that no one was going to beat him no matter what. Then it comes to my next one is Mr. Michael Jordan, best player in the world. He's the best of all time, best competitor. He could do it all, Kyle. And I know you like a little bum James, but we'll talk about that one day on the Dad Debate.
Absolutely.
And then Dirk Nowitzki from the Dallas Mavericks, 2006 or 2007 NBA MVP, 2011 NBA champion, the greatest basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks ever, in my opinion. He is just a stud. I love him. But anyway, Kyle, are there any of these players that you say that I'm crazy for having them on my list?
Well, I mean, we can talk all about the Arkansas players, but when me and Mike did this, we talked about how we're a bunch of homers, and so I can't. I mean, I had Wayne Madkin on my list. Wayne Madkin, which most people are like, who that is. Wayne Madkin was late '90s Mississippi State quarterback. But man, we went to a couple bowl games with him, and he was not that great, but that's when you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, man, you buy into all of that stuff. Give me all sorts of Wayne Madkin. So I get it. I get why you have these people. I had Shaq, I think number 3 on my list, so I'm right there with you. Reggie Bush makes a lot of sense. I mean, that dude, especially at USC, the minute he touched the ball, you never knew if it was it was always a good possibility he was going to the house regardless of how he got the ball. So I get why a lot of these guys are on there.
Yes, sir. All right, Kyle. So we have a lot of stuff going on in college football, and we would be extremely remiss to not bring this up. But since the last show we had, Trevor Lawrence put out a tweet, Kyle, and he was calling out the college football brass, the powers that be, and he says that players are safer playing, and they are better off to not go back where they came from and potentially be without health care and be around people who are not taking proper safety measures. Now, one reason that that these other conferences, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, or as I say now, the Little 10, they have said that they are not wanting to risk it because of COVID-19 related heart disease or heart issues that are ongoing after COVID-19 hits your body if it attacks your heart. Kyle, if you were in the NCAA shoes here, would you play or would you not? If you're the Big Ten or the Pac-12, I guess the SEC is standing strong, which I'm very proud of. What would you do? And do you agree with the decision to cancel their season and push it to the spring?
Look, here's the thing. I don't think that we're going to see a difference in the spring than the fall as far as the COVID numbers. I think we're still going to have people with COVID, and I think pushing it to the spring is really just telling everybody that we're not playing this year. Matt, if you listen to the Dad debate from this last week, I made this exact same point. When you are a student athlete on campus, there is much more – what's the word I want to use? Overseeing. You're overseen by more people. There's more of a thumb on you than when you go home. Your parents kind of, or grandparents, whoever you live with, they kind of let you do whatever you want. I believe, especially these Power 5 conferences, they are in a position where they could, bubble to some degree at least. They could bubble their players. I mean, everything can be taught online now. If I have to teach, all of my high school kids online, any college course can be taught online as well. So bubble them. They stay in the same dorm or whatever. The only time they kind of come out of it is to go to practice, and they're right back in, and they're just always around each other. You could easily get this done. Like I said, the Power Fives. I played at Sanford. I don't know if Sanford could do it. I don't think they have that type of I don't think they have the ability to do stuff like that, but they could easily, in a Power 5, get certain things taken care of. So, do I believe the Power 5 schools could play? Yes. Should they? You know what? I don't really know. I'm not in that position. I don't have all the facts. If I had to make a call, if you're telling me like, hey, you're the commissioner of the Big Ten or the Pac-12, what would you have done? I probably would have listened to my people on the ground, my ADs, my coaches, and said, what are y'all seeing? What do you think? And if they, especially if the ADs are coming back going, like, we don't want to do this because there is some liability issues that we don't want to have to deal with. We don't want them to come back in 20 years and say, I had heart disease because you didn't cancel this season, and we don't want to deal with that. Then absolutely I would cancel it. I think it all comes down to money. And that's the big thing. It all comes down to money. Follow the money, you'll follow the decision-making.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, Kyle. There could be potentially billions of dollars lost if they do not play college football this season, which I ultimately believe is the reason why the SEC is still going to play, because they have that big SEC network and they have all these obligations with ESPN, and they're not going to have that in their pockets if they don't, if they don't play. And I think we're going to see a similar situation to the NBA with college basketball, actually, too, where we're going to see them go into a bubble, a conference or two are going to go into a bubble, and that's how they're going to play their season. I think that things are going to look really weird until they get this vaccine and it's proven to work.
Yeah, I agree.
But now, Kyle, and a part of this also, they had talked about the NCAA players creating a players association. Now, you being a former college athlete, what do you think that the athletes should start a players association, and who would lead it?
Yeah, so I've been asked this when everything first hit with the name likeness and all. With video games, I was teaching, and this came up, and I told my students that I'll tell you, should there be a union? I don't know. The problem with unionizing is you're there for 4 years. Most unions are something where you are this. You are, a teacher union is full of teachers, or unions usually are consistent of people that stay there. So I don't know exactly how strong that union gets when there's so much turnover in its members. So if they do it, before I get there, so let me just tell you what I do know, because I've been on that side. When you sign that national letter of intent, that does not guarantee you a scholarship for all 4 years. What that does, that guarantees you a scholarship for that first year. And then you have a piece of paper, a scholarship a scholarship agreement that you have to sign every year because the school has the ability to take that scholarship from you every single year. Now, they say they can't take it based on your play. Like if they recruit you and then you come in and you do not perform to the level that they thought you should perform at, the bylaws, NCAA bylaws, say they can't take it. However, if you don't perform, they can find reasons to take it. It's one of those, like, if there's enough rules on the books that if they want to get you on something, they have a way to get you and then take that scholarship away and give it to someone else who they think might come in and play better than you. You'll also give up pretty much any way you can make money off of yourself. So here's the thing. If you're telling me that when I signed that national letter of intent, I signed that scholarship agreement, it's a 1-year contract with the school to essentially say, like, I'm giving up everything of me so that you can make money off me. That pie has gotten way too big. You're talking billions of dollars. Pie's gotten way too big. The people that are making the money for them, quite frankly, the players, they deserve a piece of that pie. I don't know how big a piece, I don't know, but they deserve a piece of that pie. Now, you ask me who should lead the association. It should be a former student athlete. It should not be someone who is in school right now for a bunch of different reasons. One, way too many responsibilities already being a student athlete. And two, they don't have the seasoning, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have what it takes to actually lead a union and get into these negotiations and fight properly for the players. So I would say a former student athlete, probably someone who graduated pre-law or someone who, when they graduated, they went to law school. I'm thinking maybe it's even like a 1AA kid. Think Ivy League, think something like that. And this is, if you want somebody specific, I had nobody, but I did have one name that came to mind. And there's a kid named Myron Roll. I say a kid, he's our age. But Myron Roll. So he played at Florida State same years I was playing college ball. He was a Rhodes Scholar. He played in the NFL. He was a safety in the NFL for a little while. And he quit playing the NFL because he like I said, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He goes to Oxford. He studies. He is a neurosurgeon intern or attend. He's a brain surgeon is what he is. He's a daggum brain surgeon. And so you tell me that a guy that smart couldn't come in and do a great job leading a college athlete union. I think he'd be great at it. The question is, would we really want to do it?
Yeah, that and Kyle, and I think the one thing that I have questions is who's gonna pay for it? Will the colleges have to pay for it? Will the athletes have to pay for it? There's just a lot of questions around that.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one as well. I mean, because here's the deal: you want to be a union, there's got to you got to pay dues. The union has to have money to go in and fight for you, and a lot of these players don't come from places where they can actually pay dues. So does that become part of the scholarship? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions that are unanswered, and it's going to take a long time to answer them.
Well, and that could also kind of put the school in a situation where they're going to cut off their arm to save their foot,
Absolutely.
And to me, it's great in theory to have a players association, but I really do not think that it will ever take place because these kids are not. They're supposed to be amateurs. They are not professionals. I actually had a union for a job that I had for a little bit at UPS. And the union, it's cool and all. If you ever get in trouble or if you ever have something go on, you have protection. But ultimately, I don't think it would work that way in college football because the NCAA and the conferences themselves, the ADs at the schools, they have all the power and they ultimately will have the final say so. And I don't think they're going to want to put it in a situation where a student athlete could have a say so over what they are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to happen. But here's what I'm seeing is I don't think they're going to need one. If you watch what's happening on Capitol Hill, the Republicans and Democrats can't, agree on anything or on very few things. And one of those things they can actually agree on is college athletes need more protection in their scholarship, and they need to be able to make money off their own likeness and image. And so I don't know how that's going to look, but you're seeing Republicans and Democrats both come together under a bill. I think it's a Senate bill, and forgive me, I don't have that in front of me, but I think it's a Senate bill that is putting in some of those ramifications, and is essentially going to force the NCAA's hand. Because I think they're doing it because they know that college athletes do not have the ability to unionize, don't have the ability to take care of themselves the way other groups would in similar situations.
Yes, absolutely. And Kyle, we've already kind of hit on this a little bit here, but the Big Ten and the Pac-12 came over the top here, and they have said that they are going to postpone into the spring. Now, this has led to Justin Fields of Ohio State to put out a petition. It had 15,000 signatures as of this morning by the time that I left church or got done with church. Kyle, what do you think? Do you think that this petition by Justin Fields will ultimately change the mind of the brass in the Big Ten and the Pac-12?
No, I mean, look, the whiners are out. We're not going to hear the Big Ten and Pac-12 say they were screwed out of this. We'll let the three best football conferences play, and we'll figure out the college football playoff championship from those three conferences the way it should be done anyways. Are the Big Ten and Pac-12 going to change their mind? Absolutely not. If you look at where they are in America and you look at the way that the people in those areas tend to vote, there's a lot of outside pressure. I'll put it to you that way. They're going to stick to their decision, excuse me. But I'll tell you what, I do like Justin Fields more now than I did going into this. I kind of assumed he was going to take this as a way to kind of prepare for the combine and get ready for the draft and get ready to go pro. But a kid that wants to play this bad and is willing to put his neck out on the line and say, look, I want to play, and here's 15,000 signatures that I was able to get, like, good for him. Good for Justin Fields.
I absolutely love the initiative here, but ultimately I think that the conference brass would look really stupid if they went back and changed their mind now. I think that spring is it's not going to happen. It's too close to the draft. It's too close to the combine. It's too close to all these other things. And then what's going to happen? They're going to play a 10-game season if they play what the SEC did, and then potentially a playoff, the bowl game or whatever. And then they're going to go straight into playing a 16, 18-game NFL schedule. That's not going to happen. Their players' bodies are going to break down.
Well, if they try to go play a spring season, all of those, especially the guys that are definitive first-round picks, guys like Justin Fields
and Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, but the ACC is going to end up playing in the fall. But I'm talking Pac-12. Penei Sewell, the left tackle out of Oregon, that's just, he's a beast. These guys are guaranteed first-round picks. And there is no chance that they put their body on the line in the spring, knowing that the combine and the draft are coming up. You tell them that that's when we're going to play in spring. You're going to see a lot of guys like that, the biggest names in the conferences, pull out because they know that it doesn't make financial sense for them to play a spring season with everything else going on.
Yes, absolutely. And they have to take everything into account because – that is their whole livelihood. A lot of these players, Kyle, as we've seen, I know that I've watched Last Chance U, and a lot of these kids, these athletes, they come from a whole bunch of nothing, unfortunately. And, that's what they've got on their mind is this is a means to an end, means to an end from them for their, for them and pretty much for their whole family. To get out, and there's a lot of pressure on them, and I couldn't imagine having to make a decision like that. But ultimately, I would respect anyone that were to pull out or opt out of any kind of a season, no matter if you're in the NFL now, if you're in college or what. You have to take care of you and your family.
Absolutely. I think you said it right. Look, I played with a lot of those guys that came from nothing, and especially at JUCO. We had quite a few guys who had the talent. My first year at Itawamba, our starting left tackle was about 6'5", 6'6", weighed about 315. He signed with Georgia coming out of high school, but he unfortunately didn't make the test scores to get in. Really great dude, but if he could have ever just like gotten his schoolwork done, the guy would have been. I mean, he was a monster. You're 6'5", 6'6", 315, and running a 4.8. Strong as an ox. He had NFL. Like, he looked like an NFL offensive tackle as a 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. He had everything he needed. He was athletic. He was everything. But some things are hard to overcome, and he could not make the grades to get in. So he's now working at last I heard, he's working at Cooper Tire.
Oh, wow. That's sad. Well, you hate to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, there's also some rumors that were floating around for a few days, which have been dismissed, which who knows what really happens behind the scenes here. But Michigan, Ohio State, and Nebraska all explored joining.
Yeah.
They all explored joining a different conference. Kyle, I don't know what you're doing here, but your wife sounds a little angry at you.
Well, so I'm down here, and it sounds like my 3-year-old is yelling down the stairs at her when he should be in bed. So she's trying to tell him to go back to bed.
Oh, I thought you might have changed the channel on the TV or something while she was trying to watch TV down there.
Oh, no. I know better than that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Kyle, so what are your thoughts of these teams that, potentially look to explore joining another conference?
Yeah, I never thought it was going to happen. There's money and contracts that have been signed that there was going to have to be, a ton of negotiation to make it happen, and we don't have that kind of time. So there was no way that was going to happen. Yeah,
and I tell you, for me, I think that the players, they agreed to play, and the conference is not wanting to play. And if everybody is on board for it, and it, we've seen it before where a kid, they've been working their butt off all offseason, and they go in and then they make a game-changing season, and then they put themselves potentially to from going undrafted to being drafted, or maybe go from a third round pick up to a second or a first round pick.
I mean, look at Joe Burrow last year. I mean, that guy was a fringe draft guy going into his senior year. He puts together the most prolific passing year we've seen in college football, and he becomes the first pick overall. Nobody has that chance this year, at least not in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten, because of those things, because they don't have the games.
Yeah, and it drives me crazy because these kids, they deserve a chance to play, and I think that they should be given every opportunity to make their dream happen. Ultimately, I don't think that a player should just be allowed to just say, "Hey, I'm going to go play, from Ohio State to go play at Texas or go play at Arkansas," which I'd be all for if they wanted to go to Arkansas.
I'm sure you would,
but. It could be life changing for those kids, and you hate that the circumstance in the NCAA, with their tying their hands behind their back where they can't defend themselves. It drives me crazy to hear it. But unfortunately, that's the way that the world is, and everything is not fair. That's one thing that my dad always told me. He'd say, "Boy, life ain't fair."
Yep.
If I told him that what he was doing, wasn't cool or whatever.
Yeah, my dad said something similar. He just said life sucks and then you die. So I mean, basically the same thing.
Or he'd say you can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one gets.
Yep. That is a topic for a future show. Is give us your best dadisms.
Yes, now I can tell you, I can come up with a few of them. In fact, Kyle, on my drive home, I told my 1.5-year-old who does not understand what I'm saying that. I was kidding, obviously, but I said, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to pull this car over right now.
Yeah.
And that's dadism for sure.
I'm going to pull this car over right now. I don't know if your dad ever said this, but Bill Cosby, I know Bill Cosby has what he, the aura around him now and understand what he did was wrong. But there was a time where Bill Cosby was America's favorite comic, and in his stand-up, he has a line where he says he's talking to his son. He says something to the effect of, "I brought you into this world, and I can take you out and make another one that looks just like you."
Yeah, that's right.
So I heard that one from my dad a lot as well.
Yeah, Kyle, there was one time, I'll tell you this. I was talking to my dad, and I don't remember exactly where we were, but I had said something to him, and pretty much to the point where we had to leave place we were at. And he told me, he said, "Son, you can make a wet dream go dry." And I thought I really screwed up then, but I tell you, that's still pretty funny to this day.
Oh, that is fantastic. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But Kyle, we are here at the end. We had a good time while Michael was gone. It looks like we'll be back to business next week. I appreciate you joining me on here and you taking the time away from the family to talk a bunch of nonsense with me.
Man, yeah, it was a good time, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. And I tell you, I'm probably going to challenge Michael going forward here. In fact, we might have a show poll next week that says who should lead the shows going forward. And I think I'm going to get America's vote.
I mean, I'm not going to vote because I got to work with both of you, and I don't want to piss either one of you off.
Yeah, because I run the Instagram page, Kyle, and I will see who your wife actually voted for here.
I'll let her vote. I won't.
Okay. That's fair then. All right. Well, America, I hope you have a great night. I hope everyone has a great, safe week, and we will see you back here Wednesday for the Dad Debate. Kyle will not be here, but I will. And Kyle, do you have any closing regards before I turn us off here?
Man, no. Y'all tune in Wednesday night. I'm sure Matt will get his tail kicked by whoever Mike gets on.
I hope so. Bye, everybody. And away we go.